Summer League is winding down. We may have gotten our last look at the rookies. So what did we learn from the Magic's 2 draft picks today on Locked On Magic?
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is July 17th, 2025. My name is Philip Rossman-Ike. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com, credentialed member of the Orlando Magic media since the 2012 season. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the rookies are pretty much done. Noah Penda got one last game in on Wednesday. Jase Richardson looks like he's done. Let's talk about what we learned about the Magic's new players from Summer League today on Locked On Magic. But before we do any of that, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic your first listen of the day. Whether you're listening to us first, whether you're listening to us when we upload, whatever you're listening to us, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day. Become part of our everyday crew. We're still going 5 days a week strong for this week and next week, and then we'll scale back just a little bit before we get into Eurobasket toward the end of August. So lots still to talk about, lots still to do, but we're getting to the offseason, so we're gonna be cool, but be part of our everyday crew. Get ready for the regular season when that comes. It's all part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. We didn't know quite what to expect from Jase Richardson. We didn't know what would translate. Fair or not, there were a lot of questions about Jase Richardson. There were a lot of questions about how he would translate to the NBA. No one was going to question his heart. No one was going to question his abilities, but the NBA is a big man's game. There is a reason there are so few guards of his size anymore, especially on winning teams. And yes, the Magic are a winning team. They keep telling us, they keep shouting at us, they keep claiming to us that their goal is to win a championship. They are not in this thing just to win the East. They're not just in this thing to get to the second round. They are in this thing to win the whole dang thing. And whether that happens this year or not is not so relevant, but the Magic want to make it clear they're in that conversation. And we're going to find out if they are. So drafting a guard who measured at 6'125", that came in smaller and shorter than people thought. I don't want to say it was a risk because the talent is evident, but it was a risk. It was a question. It was something that he would have to prove. And look, he proved it over and over again at Michigan State. But doing it in the NBA is different. And obviously, Summer League is not the NBA. If there is a general, and I like doing this, if there is a general theme to this episode, it is that the Magic got 2 players in the draft. They got 2 players who look like they can do things. As I always say, Summer League is not about proving you can play. It's about determining whether you can't. Jase Richardson looked very, very comfortable, looked very, very dominant at times on the Summer League floor. In 2 games for the Magic, he averaged 16.5 points per game, so that's 33 points total. Shot 10 for 18, 3 for 6 from 3, 10 for 11 from the foul line. Didn't have a ton of assists, but didn't turn the ball over. They didn't run him at point guard, which I think was a little disappointing. I would have liked to see him run more point guard, but when he took over the game in the fourth quarter against the Toronto Raptors in that second game, he had big moments and seemed eager to stand up to the task. Beyond that, obviously, 6 of his 18 shots were threes, but he wasn't just standing on the perimeter taking threes. He was attacking the basket, and he still maintained his efficiency. He still maintained his ability to finish at the rim. Jase Richardson is not going to make the list of top rookies at Summer League. We'll talk about Noah Penda. Noah Penda stood out to a lot more scouts and to a lot more people for showing that he could do things people didn't expect. But Jase Richardson had a very solid summer league. He showed us that he can function on that court, that against taller defenders, he can score over them. He showed us his fight and his ability to defend. And again, we'll find out how much of this translates to the regular season. I think Jase is going to have his work cut out for him to get minutes, and that's just the nature of being on a winning team. But he's someone that it feels like you can rely on to get your points, to do the right things, to be in the right space, to play hard, to be engaged in that way. And for now, that's all that the Magic can ask for. For now, that's all the Magic needed to see. Obviously, he's doing this as well with a sore ankle. Did not come into Summer League healthy. He injured himself in a workout between the draft and Summer League, was limited in Summer League practice, still played through it, showed his toughness, give him that credit. But Jase Richardson showed us what his potential can be. And obviously, he's more developed than Noah Penda. Noah Penda still rough around the edges, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But Jase showed us how his skills can translate. Now, again, doing that in Summer League is very, very different than doing that in the NBA. But it is hard not to come away from his Summer League run without being impressed. It's hard to come away and not think, okay, this guy has something. This guy can do things on an NBA court. Whether you can do them enough to be in the rotation, whether you can do that enough to be consistent, whether you can do that enough to be what the Magic need him to be, that's something we won't answer until October or November. That's something we won't answer until the season begins. But for the 25th pick in the draft, for a player with some major questions and some major shortcomings that he had to answer for, Jase Richardson seemed to deliver, seemed to give the Magic exactly what they were looking for, exactly what they were hoping to see, and exactly what they needed him to develop. Again, Jase Richardson isn't going to be on the list of all Summer League guys. Like, he scored 19 points in a game, like he scored consistently, but he isn't putting up the huge numbers. The Magic didn't win. They're gonna kind of exit discreetly on Friday from Vegas against the Dallas Mavericks. He isn't going to turn enough heads to get any headlines. But he certainly showed us a lot and showed us there's a reason to be excited about what this young man can bring this team. The more interesting prospect, though, was Noah Penda. The possibilities that Noah Penda presented coming up in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Open Phone. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had an urgent need, maybe for a plumber or a service provider. If the first person didn't answer, did you wait? Probably not. You moved on. That's why you need Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer communications, all from an app on your phone or computer. Open Phone lets you manage business calls and texts from a single app. The shared inbox feature is a true game changer. Your team can jump into any conversation instantly without missing a beat. And their AI agent handles after-hour calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so you never miss a customer. Open Phone is offering my listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's Openphone, OPENPHONE.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have existing numbers with another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers. So, the bigger mystery of this offseason or this summer league was, what do the Magic actually have in Noah Penda? That was a big thing. When the Magic drafted him, and look, the Magic never do this. They never trade up to get their guy. They never seemingly target players up in the second round and make sure they go get them. That just hasn't been their MO. They've been more likely to punt second round picks or to trade away their second round picks to get guys or to just let other teams get their guys. The Magic targeted Noah Penda as a player they wanted, as the player they wanted. And it's easy to see why, just on the scouting reports and on the tape, he seemed like a Magic type player. A 6'6" forward, plays bigger than he is, long arms, obviously. We joked about that when the Magic drafted me. Didn't think the Magic were going to get out of the draft without some long arm, versatile guy, did you? Guy who showed some playmaking ability, some potential to be a better 3-point shooter, but an excellent defender. To me, like Noah Penda, it felt like this blank slate. The Magic could make him anything they wanted him to be. And obviously, they want him to be everything. That's kind of the Magic's MO, is they want players who do everything. Especially if players their size don't typically do that. And so I think most of us, when we got to Summer League, were like, well, what is this guy actually? Who is this player? So let's make this part clear first. There are still a lot of rough edges. There are still a lot of things he needs to get better at. The Magic gave him green lights. He took them. That's a good thing. Mistakes were fine. He turned the ball over a lot. He took some threes and they didn't all go in and they didn't all look pretty. But he showed why he is a player the Magic want to invest in. And what was intriguing, what was exciting about what we saw from Noah Penda in Summer League is that it really does feel like there are a load of possibilities, a ton of possibilities in what he can accomplish and what he can be, and the player he can be developed into. Wednesday's game against the Brooklyn Nets, which we'll talk about in a little bit more detail here in a minute. Wednesday's game against the Brooklyn Nets, Noah Penda was the guy. Yeah, Ethan Thompson was there, Wendell Moore was there, but no Jase, no Tristan. Noah Penda had our full attention. And the Magic gave him a green light and wanted him to be aggressive. Very clearly wanted him to be aggressive. Very clearly wanted him to kind of take control over this team. They had him run some point. They had him bring the ball up. They had him guard Danny Wolf. They had him guard Jaeger Jemin. They had him guard everybody. And for very, very long periods of that game, he looked like the best player on the floor. For very long periods of that game, Noah Penda looked like someone who could just do more than everybody else. His final stat line really kind of shows you the breadth of everything. Noah Penda finished with 17 points, 7 for 11 shooting, 2 for 4 from 3, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 turnovers, a block, and 5 fouls. It is Summer League. There's going to be a lot of fouling. And again, it shows you that, Penda's going to be able to score. When he's balanced, when he is confident, when he's attacking, he's a big body that can move guys out of the way and finish at the rim. He's going to get his share of putbacks and energy plays, where he's just running down the court. No one wants to get in front of him, or he's getting to the glass and finishing at the rim. Defensively, he is pretty much as advertised. I wouldn't call him like an elite defender off the bat, but he's got the tools to do so and has the instincts that will grow as he continues playing to get there. He played really, really well on defense throughout this whole Summer League, and there's a lot to be impressed about with his defense. Is some of the decision-making there? No, but that comes with experience. The fact that the Magic could see him on the ball, playing up-tempo, bringing the ball over the timeline, over the midcourt line. The fact that they could see that was a sign of his potential, of everything that he could be and he could do. The Magic will exit Summer League, and again, we don't know if he's going to play on Friday. My bet is that he does not. The Magic will exit Summer League saying, Noah Penda can do all the things we can imagine. It's now on him and certainly on them a little bit to develop those things, to find the right role and give him the tools he needs to maximize that talent. He is indeed a blank slate. He is indeed this open canvas. And he is indeed someone that can and has the tools to fill that up with good things and to be a great player. Now, again, the Magic are I don't want to say title level team. They're a winning team right now. They don't have the time to wait on a player to develop. Noah Penda is going to have to develop kind of on his own in the background. When he plays, they're going to ask him to defend and do energy plays. They're not going to ask him to bring the ball up. They're not going to ask him to run pick and rolls. They're not going to ask him to be the playmaker that he was in Summer League. He's going to have to work on those things. Maybe in the G League, it wouldn't shock me if he spends a lot of time in the G League. Noah Penda is still a very, very raw player. He's still very, very rough around the edges, and there are a lot of things for him to improve on. But as I've said a million times, and we'll say a few more times this week before we leave Vegas, Summer League is not about proving you can play. It's about showing that it's about showing that you can't play. It's about showing whether you can't play. You don't learn whether a player can play in Summer League. You learn whether they can't. And while there are rough edges that Noah Penda needs to clean up, he showed us that he can play. He showed us he can do things and has skills that work on that floor. There is something there to build and develop. It's now just about the building and developing part. And that is a positive sign. That is a positive point of growth for Noah Penda. It's something to build on, which is ultimately what matters. Let's talk then more specifically about Wednesday's game against the Brooklyn Nets. We'll chat about how the Magic made a comeback, what that says about their culture and the non-roster players who are still fighting for their chance, coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. With Monarch Money, they put all of your finances in an easy to read summary so that you can find out what you're spending. You feel like you're spending too much on takeout or trying to track all those subscriptions. Monarch Money puts all of that in an easy to read, easy to sort way so that you can take control of your finances. Knowledge is power, and Monarch Money gives you the knowledge to figure out what your financial goals should be and what your financial state is. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Okay, let's talk then more specifically about this game against the Brooklyn Nets. The Orlando Magic fall to the Brooklyn Nets 94-90. It was a very summer league game. It was a game that just was not pretty. And, that isn't Noah Penda's fault. Noah Penda, again, 17 points plus 0, broke even in his minutes. It was just an ugly, ugly game. And look, this has been the Magic's problem all summer league. They don't have a lot of shooters. They don't have a lot of consistent shooting on their roster. The Magic are just really, really good at attracting guards who struggle with their shot. And look, some of that is like Ethan Thompson needs to continue to improve as a shooter. He had 8 points, 2 for 11 shooting, 1 for 7. Ethan Thompson, the Magic's two-way player, has not had a good summer league. He has not played particularly well. And that's been a huge, huge hurt because he's there to anchor, especially this back end lineup when the Magic are starting to play some of these deeper guys. They had some guys who have not played well, who did play well. Wendell Moore Jr. played well again, 17 points. I think he is a prime candidate for two-way, 5 for 11, 2 for 5 from 3, 6 rebounds, 2 steals. Wendell Moore Jr. is a guy that defends, which the Magic like. His three-point shots come a little ways. It's still not quite there. But I think Wendell Moore is going to get a two-way contract. He's going to get a two-way contract somewhere. He's too good not to. The Magic really struggled to shoot in this game. Brooklyn did not. They got to the foul line. They had 41 free throws. That's summer league. You're going to foul a lot in summer league. So the Magic were missing shots. They were fouling. they found themselves down by 20 points. They trailed by as much as 23 in this game. They scored 10 points. They got outscored 20-10 in the third quarter. So even if, we mentioned this last game, even if you're defending well, which the Magic weren't, Brooklyn was making shots and getting to the foul line, bad recipe. Even when you're defending well, if you can't score, you're going to collapse. And obviously the Magic don't have their elite level defense. Got to give the Magic credit, though. This has been a big thing that Coach Amir Bahur has said throughout the course of the summer. He wants his team to be the most resilient, relentless team in Summer League. And so, again, closest only good to horseshoes and hand grenades. But I'm going to give this Magic team a lot of credit, just like they did Tuesday, just like they've done in the last two games, in the previous two games. This Magic team fought. They may not have the horses. They may not have the talent. They may not have the players to take them to the next level, to take them beyond where they're at. But they have plenty. And they have heart and they have grit, and they found their way. They found that little bit of a groove that they needed to get back into this game. And again, I think that's a credit to Coach Amir. I think that's a credit to the culture the Magic have built that's just been established and reinforced. And that's a credit to these players that they didn't quit. Orlando got the lead down to 1. I believe it was 79-78. And then Brooklyn made some shots. Over the last 3 minutes, Jaeger Jemin, who could not hit a shot to save his life at BYU, made 3 threes to ice the game, to essentially put the game away for Brooklyn. Orlando just ran out of time to answer. But the Magic got really good play. Like Noah Penda had a great start, kind of like a middling second and third quarter, and then played really well in the fourth quarter. They got some big shots from Jalen Crutcher. Finally broke out, 14 points, 5 for 10 shooting, 4 for 9 from 3. Crutcher's been a pretty reliable point guard option for the Magic throughout this summer league. He has really struggled with a shot. So I think Jalen Crutcher is probably going to be an E10 guy. He'll play in Osceola most likely. He looks good. Like he looks like he has command and understands where he's supposed to be. He just hasn't been able to shoot this week. So I don't want to, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. The games aren't everything. The Magic see them in practices too. Everything's an evaluation. But he's really struggled on the court and hasn't made that impression. Alondes Williams made 3 threes in this game, went 3 for 8 from 3. In the fourth quarter, let me just pull up my fourth quarter box score here. In the fourth quarter, Jalen Crutcher went 4 for 6 from 3. Alondes Williams went 1 for 2 from 3. Wendell Moore made a 3. Noah Penda made a 3. Ethan Thompson made one of his threes. Orlando went 8 for 17 in the fourth quarter, and that enabled them to get from 3 in the fourth quarter. That enabled them to get back to the game. And look, we know 3-point shooting really matters, and it's a great equalizer and all that. Orlando finally started making shots, and that built some momentum for them to get back in the game. And they were able to settle and defend without fouling, which, again, got them stops, got them back in the game. And then, they got close. Brooklyn made a few shots. There are a few untimely fouls, and that's how you lose a basketball game. Essentially, the Magic just ran out of time and just didn't play well enough earlier in the game to put themselves in a position to win this. Again, I'm not going to freak out over wins and losses. That's not important. Would I like to see the Magic win on Friday so that they don't finish 0-5? Absolutely. The Magic winning is better than losing. Always is. But we're seeing plenty of things to like. And frankly, I want to highlight one guy in particular. Zach Fremantle really did not play in the first 3 games. He played a little bit on Tuesday. Did not play in the first 3 games. Came in that fourth quarter and was the best center on the team. 8 points, 3 for 7 shooting, 9 rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds, 2 steals as well. Fremantle was just in the right spots, really played with great energy. I don't know if he's definitely not an E10 guy. He's probably an Osceola guy. He's probably a G League guy. But that energy matters. And that is what lifts this team. That is what helps this team kind of build itself. And so I really liked how this group played. And generally I've liked how this group has played. They don't have the horses. They don't have the shooting talent that they need. I don't know if they have the shooting talent. They haven't made the shots that they need to be competitive, to win these games. Their bench just hasn't been consistent. They're Wendell Moore has been the only guy that's been super consistent of okay, I like what he's doing in every single game. I want to keep him in the family. It wouldn't shock me if like Nate Santos is a guy that they like and want to keep, but I don't think he's even an E10 guy. I think he's a straight Osceola guy. It's, it's been a mess. There's just no consistency with this group. And that's the most disappointing thing from Summer League so far is that I don't see two-way options. Like Wendell Moore Jr. is the only two-way option I see. I don't see even a lot of E10 options. I don't see a lot of Osceola options. Like Scala BCA and Osceola is fine, but like, he's also 29. You can't really do much with that other than just have a veteran on the G League team. He won the G League title last year with Stockton, but over Osceola, but we'll see. Ultimately, like the Magic put in a good effort. They played hard against a team that was playing a lot more of their regular players. They did not give up on this game, which I think is a good trait to have. And it's a Summer League game. It was just a very, very Summer League game. And obviously the Magic have one more. They'll play Friday, 4:00 against Dallas. I don't anticipate the Magic's main roster players will play in that. And so we'll find out which direction this team ultimately goes. A good effort. Again, effort has never been the problem with this team. It's been skill. It's been shot making. It's been all the things we've talked about for the last year that this Magic team has struggled with in real life, not in Summer League life. But it is what it is. I will always, I question the Magic Summer League and two-way strategy a lot. It's just not important enough to carry over. This was a good platform for Noah Penda. He showed us a lot of what he can do, and I think that's ultimately what the team's goal was this in this game. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. You can, of course, find me on Twitter at @PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the formats you download the podcast to your podcast-enabled listening device. You can find us on YouTube as well. Just search for Locked On Magic. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. Up on the Patreon right now, I have a video breaking down Tyus Jones, why he is such an effective passer, breaking down some clips, breaking down some video of him. You can check that out over at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. Now that you're done listening to Locked On Magic, go listen to the Locked On NBA show because there is no offseason in the NBA. Doug, Matt, and Hayes keep you up to date on contract negotiations, rumors, and everything you need to be the most informed NBA fan. Find Locked On NBA on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. All part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Locked On Magic. I have to find a topic somewhere. We're getting to the bottom of the barrel here. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.